Hi everyone, it's Kute here, sending you love wherever you are. Today I want to talk a bit about how do you make not just changes in your life, but how do you make big changes in your life? No matter who we are, we all have a certain area that we want to change. So what's the area in your life that you would like to shift? Perhaps it's in the area of relationship, and maybe you're tired of fighting in relationships. Maybe it's in the relationship with yourself and you're tired of feeling insecure or a lack of self-confidence, or you're tired of just hating yourself, or perhaps it's in the area of your health. You're tired of being fat, overweight, out of shape. Or maybe it's in the area of your money. You're tired of being broke and not having enough money and having it be a constant struggle. You know, over the last 14 years or so, I've had the privilege of coaching everyone from billionaires, celebrities, athletes, pop stars, children, mothers, and I've assisted people in creating big breakthroughs, what they would consider huge changes in their life. And I've seen certain patterns, certain simple patterns, certain simple things that it takes to really create shifts. Many times, you know, you might say, I really want to shift. Have you ever said that? I really want to have a breakthrough. I really want to create a change. And you say it and you know what to do, you know what you shouldn't do, you know why you should do it, but somehow you may not be able to get yourself to really shift, to really make that change, to really transform. Why is that? Why is it that even though you know what to do, you can't maybe get yourself to break through or move through or do that thing to make the change you know you need to make? One of the things I found that in order to make big changes have to happen, there's a few factors. But one of the factors that I see is many times people say, I want to make a big change, but they're really not committed. So my question is, are you really committed? Or is it something that would be nice? Is it something, see, if it's a big change, chances are you're having to go against a whole habitual pattern, a whole, you know, mountain of conditioning. You've been reacting and responding in a certain way, so you're having to turn around something that, or a way of being that you've been doing for a while. Maybe it's smoking, maybe it's drugs, maybe it's drinking, maybe it's picking the wrong kind of men. So to really create a big change in your life, you have to have a huge and big commitment. And I see that many people don't have commitment. Commitment is everything. Commitment is everything. The question I ask people is, what do you want more than anything else? What do you want more than anything else? We often say we should change, we know we must change, but when it comes down to, we may want our comfort zone. We might be afraid. You may have payoffs for why deep down you're afraid of actually changing, because the fear of, if I actually change, then what will that mean to my job? The fear, if I actually change my body and my partner doesn't, what will that mean for our relationship? If I truly transform myself, what will that mean for the structure around me? What's the fear you have in your life for actually shifting your life, for actually making those changes, those breakthroughs? Usually there's some reason that you might be staying stuck, some payoff you might have for staying stuck. So what do you want more than anything else? See, if I took your head and I put it underwater right now, and you couldn't breathe, and you were unable to breathe right now, what would you want more than anything else? Some chocolate cake? I mean, I love chocolate cake, but would you want chocolate cake? Money? A car? A girlfriend? Boyfriend? Fame? The only thing that in that moment you would want more than anything else is air. And you would be so committed to breathing more than anything else, and you'd be giving everything. And usually what I have seen when people don't break through is they are not really committed. There is some part of themselves that they have in reserve. There's some part of themselves that they hold back, that they don't give fully out of fear. You must be all in to give everything. Perhaps I've seen one of the reasons people don't commit fully is because sometimes they're afraid. They're afraid of what will happen if they commit, and that they might actually transform, and what are the consequences that will happen if I actually transform? My relationship might end, I might have to leave my job, I might have to face certain things about myself that I'm not ready for, and what will that mean for my life? One of the other reasons people don't commit fully, like all in, not 1 foot in and 1 foot out, is the fear of, if I commit fully and it doesn't work, then I might be disappointed. So psychologically, sometimes it can be easier to not commit fully and have the hope of transforming. And I can always be working on myself, working on myself, working on myself, the ego playing a game with itself. And if I just keep working on myself, I can always have the hope of transforming, the hope of a better future out there in the future somewhere. And I don't have to face the possibility that it might not happen, the possibility that I might not transform, the potential heartbreak of disappointment. So if I don't commit fully, then I don't have to face that and feel that potential heartbreak pain. But if you don't commit fully, you'll never really know what's possible. So my question is, if you haven't created the shift, the changes, the result that you truly desire in your life, are you committed fully? Like, if you are really honest, are you committed fully? I'm not talking about 80%, I'm not talking about 90%, I'm not talking about 97%, but 100%. Are you 100% committed to making that relationship work? When I coach, folks in relationship, couples, they come together. One thing I've seen that often blocks them from really working stuff out together is there's some place where they're not committed fully to each other. Like, if you truly want something and are 100% dedicated and committed to it, something has to shift. So are you as committed as you say you are? Do you want it more than anything else? Like if you had your head underwater. Because if you want to transform, if you want that breakthrough, if you want it more than anything else, you will have to give up certain things. So what have you been unwilling to give up to have your big shift, your big change in your life? Perhaps you've been unwilling to give up being comfortable. Perhaps you've been unwilling to give up being reasonable. Perhaps you've been unwilling to give up, looking a certain way, looking good, your lifestyle, what people will think, what have you been unwilling to give up? Because freedom is not free. It will require that you give something up. And that giving something up is the very thing that often we're afraid of, the very thing we're scared of. Maybe going into the unknown. What is it you will have to give up? Because that very thing is the very thing that will test you the most, to test your commitment the most, that will cause you to expand and become the person. To become the person that is truly ready to embody the next level of your own expression at that next stage. You must face your fear. Many times we're afraid. But you must face your fear. Rather than running from your fear, you must be willing to face your fear. Set a table for tea with your fear. And say, fear, come to tea. And you look your fear in the eye, and you will often find that the very thing you were afraid of wasn't that real at all. Are you ready to commit? The other thing I'll say is, what it truly takes to create big shifts in your life is you must be willing to be radically honest with yourself. I see so many people stuck in certain areas, doing certain patterns, in certain relationships, in their career, because there's often a misperception or a sense that they're not really telling the truth to themselves about where they are actually at. Maybe they're bullshitting themselves about where they're at, pretending that where they're at is better than where they're actually at. Or they're not, or they don't have a true realistic sense of where they're actually at. So if you're not sure where you're actually at, you may want to get some feedback from your friends, because trust me, your friends, if they're good friends, will give you honest feedback, and they will tell you this is where you're actually at. You think you're in Tahiti, You think you're in Tahiti, but you are in, you know, the jungle somewhere. You know, you think you're in, you think you're in Hawaii, but you're in Las Vegas. And Las Vegas doesn't look like Hawaii. So one of the ways that keeps people stuck is there's ways that we are as human beings constantly deceiving ourselves. And we're doing things, justifying things to keep a certain comfort zone together, a certain identity of who we know ourselves to be that becomes a comfort zone. Then people relate to us as that persona, as that person. We get love, validation, approval, survival from that way of being. But to break through to the next level of whatever it is you want in life, to create in life, will require you get a little uncomfortable, will require that you become more than you've been before, will require that you go into the unknown so you can actually create what has never been created before. So you must be willing to be radically honest with yourself, cut the BS completely and say, this is where I'm at and this is what I'm not. And even if you're not willing to do something about what you're acknowledging, the ability to be that radically honest so you can no longer lie to yourself in any way. I am a drug addict. I am an alcoholic. I am addicted to gambling. I am, you know, blah, blah. You fill in your own blank. Then you can face it. The truth will set you free. The truth will burn like a fire, because when you acknowledge the truth, there's no more hiding. When you acknowledge the truth, there's a part of you that can no longer lie to yourself, and it begins a process inside of you of transforming. Even if you don't take the exact step in the moment, there's no going back when you tell the truth to yourself and those around you in a truly authentic and honest way. What often keeps people stuck in making the big changes they know they need to make in their life is they'll deceive themselves. You know, I'm not really like that fat. I'm just like rounded. I'm round. You know, I'm round. Yes, I mean, not that you're trying to be something or fit some societal standard, but if you're not feeling good about yourself and you want to lose some weight, just, you know, the best way is you just go strip naked, go into the mirror and look at yourself in the mirror and just acknowledge what is. Not good, bad, no judgment, just see things for what they are. I like reality. Your willingness to face reality as it is, without judgment, judging yourself, judging reality, just pure perception in the moment, will give you then the ability and resource to deal with reality in that moment, to then be able to shift your reality. So I'm 40 pounds overweight. No judgment, no good, bad, no comparison. This is where I'm at. $50,000 in debt. This is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. So where are you really? Honestly, without any judgment, take a look. Not even looking at the glass half full or the glass half empty. Optimism, pessimism, I just say realism. When you get real with yourself, that's when it gives you the power to know what you need to do and who you need to be to make the changes. So where have you been lying to yourself? What have you been pretending not to know? Where have you been BSing yourself, which creates a whole fog of confusion which keeps you stuck? Face yourself. It takes courage. Then you cultivate the awareness, and as you're honest, then you cultivate the awareness, and from that place you can choose. You then have the power to choose to be truly responsible for what it is you want to create. I believe that in order to create big changes in your life, big shifts in your life, those are a couple of the simple beginning keys that you need to know. There's more, which I share at some of my events, but those are the beginning steps. Simple, simplified. I could talk about it for days. The last thing I'll say, my amazing friends, is this. Sometimes we're so stuck in our patterns, so stuck in our routine, that when you are about to make a big shift, which requires you become someone you haven't been, which requires you go somewhere you haven't gone, you'll often hit a zone, a resistance zone. You will face some resistance. And that resistance is like the comfort zone you've been living in. And that resistance is natural. It's okay. Most people hit the resistance and and they hit the resistance and they go, oh, I hit resistance, so I guess, you know, I'll give up. I guess I'll just keep doing the patterns I'm doing because it's too hard. It's too hard. You know, it may have taken you 30 years to get where you were, 25 years to get to the weight that you were, 15 years to get to your financial situation, but it might take a few months, a few days, a few weeks, a few years to shift out of that. So it will take your commitment. So just know, if you hit the resistance, it's natural that resistance is a part of the process of turning your life around. So do not resist the resistance. Embrace the resistance, move through the resistance to the other side. And rather than giving up, just know that what will help you have the persistence to break through, to create the big changes that you know you must create in your life at this time, is it's important to have a bigger vision. A bigger vision that is bigger than your current situation. A vision for your life, a vision for what's on the other side. A bigger vision for what you are committed to creating as a result of your shift than where you currently are. So why do you want to shift? And what's that vision? Make it big. Be committed to something so big. Be committed to something so big that it requires everything inside of you to stretch yourself beyond where you are, to expand into who you have always been. Your future is waiting for you now. Your future is waiting for you now. And when you have a vision that big and you commit that big, you can actually shock the future. You can shock the future with the creativity that you are, the intelligence inside of you is forced to generate in this moment to actually live into and create and step into and fulfill that future that you're seeing. You will shock the future with what you come up with in the present so you can step into that. Are you ready to shock the future? Amazing friends, it's time for you to live big, live bold. You have one life as you right now. This is your moment. You are here. Let's do this. I love you. If you enjoyed this blog, please subscribe. And I'll be sending you some amazing content, inspirational videos in the upcoming weeks and months. Love now.